everybody, apologies this has taken me so long. If you remember last month's Q&A, I decided to do slightly different, and I had an idea of a video called Tell Me a Fact About, which is basically you give me a subject and I will try and give you a fact, and it's like a way of testing my general knowledge. This didn't go as I planned. I only looked at the first couple of posts and I was like, oh my god, they're going to go so specific, there is no way I'm ever going to know anything about this. Reno is going to read them to me and I'm going to try and tell you a fact about all of these things. All of the facts given in this video will be 100% factually correct. Maybe.
Chris Maltby says, really enjoyed the videos a while back about hailing in the Second World War. So tell me a fact we haven't heard yet about hailing and World War II.
Okay, I've sat and thought about this one. I think I've actually given you all the information I can give you in the videos about the history of hailing, because that's what the video is about. But something you may not know is I think quite a lot of boats from this area ended up in Normandy for the landings, for bringing people back, I think. I know of one or two locally that definitely went there. So there were some boats from here that went to Normandy. It's not a great fact, but it's all I can actually think of that's factual at the moment.
John Champkin says, tell me a fact about the German band Sperm Birds.
Sperm Birds was originally organised in a children's party. It turns out the parents were all very much... No, I've never even heard of them. Sperm Birds. Never even...
Who knows? Timmy 1987 says, tell me a fact about how the Supermoto was born. And then he also said, glad to hear your mum is getting better, mate. Can't wait to see the Scrambler review. I really like these bikes, so it'll be interesting to hear your opinion.
Yeah, that shows how long ago I asked this. The Scrambler video has been up for ages.
Yeah.
My mum's back to normal. She's even driving now. So yeah, she's I'd say 99% back to the way she was, but she's just had to come to terms with that she's getting older and that she can't do as much as she used to. Okay, so how the Supermoto was born? Well, basically, there was a off-road bike and there was a road bike, and they loved each other very much. And then they went into a garage one night and there was a lot of sounds of like... Lots of lube was in use, and what came out was a super... From my understanding, Supermoto, basically, the birth of it was it started in... Oh, I'm going to get hate if I get this wrong. I have a feeling it started in Europe or France, where they basically started putting road tyres, intermediate tyres on off-road type bikes. I think that's how Supermoto started. I think it was like around France or something like that. As I say, that may not be a correct fact. I'm going to get... You know what? This video is perfect for people because they can tell me where I'm wrong all the time.
Well, they do that anyway.
Yeah, but this is the perfect opportunity for it. But I don't even care in this one, so tell me how wrong I am, because I don't know. I only care when I know it's right, and they're like, you're wrong, and I'm like,
well,
not really.
No. Bruce Groom says, tell me a fact about Lexmoto/UM TG80 isn't common knowledge. Oh, that isn't common knowledge, it's just misspelled.
I think I've talked about those companies enough for everyone to know that Pulse turned into Lexmoto. Chinese Motorcycle Parts Online is also part of the Lexmoto group because it's the Lexter group. UM is United Motorcycles, which was well known in America and places like that. But now Lexmoto are actually the importer of those as well, but it's a separate thing because obviously they're importing them separately. So they're all the same people, I think is one thing to say. I don't know if everyone realises that. A lot of their bikes are made in different factories, but I think I've talked about Chinese bikes now to the point that everyone knows. Something people don't know. The answer is the things that people don't know, I can't say. Because, well, actually, you might not know this at this point. I put a post up about it yesterday. The Adrenaline 125 is now no longer made. It's been discontinued. It was made, as I say, originally as the Pulse Adrenaline 125, then it was the Lexmoto. I had a hand in its development. I don't know if many people realise that. The updated Lexmoto Adrenaline, there are things in that I told them to do or suggested they should do, and they did. And that's even been acknowledged in one of their own videos that I had a hand in it, which is very cool to say you've helped develop a bike in a way, and something you own for years. Yes, other companies still sell ones like it, and Lexmoto's sort of response to this officially was basically they thought that everything else in the range was so much better that a replacement wasn't going to be as good as the others. Because they go out and they look for new bikes and stuff, and whatever was available they thought it's not really up to the standard of the other stuff we're doing now, so we're not going to do one for now, or they're going to find one. I don't know exactly, I just know roughly why it was ended, so maybe there's something in there you didn't know. Next!
Roger Palmer says, tell me a fact about the Cramps. And then in brackets he's put Californian band.
The Cramps. The Cramps originally got their name after the drummer had some really, really bad Mexican food. They were performing a stage performance and he told everyone he had the cramps. They didn't believe him. He said he should just go on a drum. And obviously with all that vigorous movement, the crescendo of the song was brown. And thus, the Cramps got their name. Otherwise known as the Stinky Westerns.
Angie Portman says, tell me a fact about coastal wildlife in your area.
A fact about coastal wildlife in my area. Right, okay, so I may have mentioned this, as this is the problem. Our coastal wildlife is having some problems at the moment because the water board keep pumping tons of raw sewage into the sea, and it's causing raised nitrate levels, which is causing all sorts of problems for the local environment, and this all comes down to them lying to the council about how much their system could actually cope with, which it can't, and they haven't increased the infrastructure. It means that whenever it rains, the system gets over flooded and they pump raw sewage into the sea. I may have mentioned that in a video, so that's not necessarily a fact you didn't know. And as for a fact you didn't know, there was a type of seaweed which was first recognised here by one of my mum's friend's husbands, who was a biologist, and I'm not going to say too much, but basically he discovered this type of seaweed that had been pumped out of bilge tanks of foreign vessels, and now this seaweed is one of the most common in this area. It's not good for boats and stuff to have it here, but otherwise it's not really doing too much problems. But yeah, he discovered it, and the closest I can get to a fact that they're not going to know.
Valcorian asks, given the size of the universe and the possibilities of life within it, would you like a toasted tea cake?
That's not tell me a fact about. And no, I would not like a toasted tea cake. I don't like tea cakes when they're toasted. I don't think you should toast hot cross buns either. Ugh. Reno does not like hot cross buns.
I do not like hot cross buns. There's a fact about me.
Right, actual question.
Andrew Spiz asks, tell me a fact about the history of motorcycling. And he also says, glad to hear your mum is doing better.
I think that the fact about the history of motorcycling that people don't necessarily appreciate is how slow everything used to be compared to nowadays. Like, what was considered a fast bike in the past could do 80, 90 miles an hour. And now you're looking at bikes doing over 200 that you can buy and ride on the road. And then people are like, oh, you know, back in the day it was so much easier to... Oh, I don't know.
Jonathan Luckins says, tell me a fact about the Demon Core experiments.
Oh, Demon Core experiments, right. I'm pretty sure the Demon Core was another plutonium or uranium core that was made for another nuclear bomb that might have been dropped on Japan after the first two, but they didn't use it. And this core has had several accidents along the way regarding it, and I think it's like it's the core that's killed like 5 people, but it's never blown up. It's like it's a cursed core. I think that's what the Demon Core is. I think, or it's a type of heavy metal music.
Ben Davies says, tell me a fact about the pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. Hint, it's pronounced pre-Raphael. Oh, I pronounced it right. Yay! Yeah, tell me a fact about the pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood.
Well, there was this group of guys who got together and they were working together, and then the Raphaelites came along, and it changed things.
Why is this making me laugh so much?
I have never heard of that.
It's making me laugh.
What happened? What did they? Well, I'm just thinking of a group.
Maybe what it was all of the Ninja Turtles before Raphael was popular or something.
Reno's got it. It was before Raphael joined the Ninja Turtles. They were still underground. They hadn't found Splinter. No, Splinter had gone off on a quest. And instead of helping, fight crime and eat pizzas, they just hid in the sewers and ate turds.
Me Festo says, tell me a fact about the UK native reptiles. I thought about something with a Latin name or Parthenogenesis or something, but decided to keep it easy.
Right, so the actual question is, tell me something about UK reptiles. There isn't many.
They are cute.
There are adders, grass snakes, smooth snakes, common lizards, smooth lizards, slow worms, and that's about it. Most of those are not very common. I've seen an adder. I've never seen I have seen a grass snake from a distance, but not very well. And they can grow up to 5.5 feet long, and they like to eat frogs in ponds. And they lay their eggs in compost heap. The ones I've seen is an adder, common lizards, and slow worms.
And I've only seen slow worm and that lizard we saw when we were going on that walk.
And he
was so fast. He was like, gone. He did not want to be seen. Phil Daniels says, tell me a fact about the Hayling Island Railway.
It's closed. Here's a fact about the Hayling Island Railway. Lots of people would like us to reinstate the railway so it would be a way of people to get onto the island without using cars. This is dumb, because everyone wants to drive their car. No one's going to pay for the railway. It will cost a lot of money, and then it will never get used. And to build it requires a second bridge, and we could do with a second road bridge. So It's basically, the Hayling Railway is dead. It's never coming back, and that's it's not really a positive. The old, how about this one? The old down there, the old theatre. No, the old station is now a theatre.
Spondig D. Oh, it's hard to say. Hi, Spicy. Hope you and Reno are well. Glad your mum is feeling better. Tell me a fact about life, the universe, and everything that isn't 42.
The reason why the machine gave the answer of 42, and this seems to be lost on lots of people, is because they asked the wrong question. There is no meaning to life, so if you ask a nonsensical question, you will get a nonsensical answer. The answer will be unique to every single person, so for some reason the computer decided that 42 was the answer. A fact about life, existence and everything, people see this much about their life, existence and everything and fight over it, and then they die. Whereas in some people see things on the bigger picture, and it's quite healthy for you to do that.
So
I have another fact. Somewhere out there, around one of those planets, there is a teapot going round and around.
What about the fact that the Earth is a disc on top of elephants on a turtle that is swimming in the ocean?
Well, that's more likely than it just being round.
Dominic Cummings Hilton says, tell me a fact about differential calculus.
Differential calculus is a form of mathematics where you find out the difference between one thing and another. I kept a straight face to that. I don't actually know. I'm not great on maths.
I thought you were good at maths.
I'm good at it, but I'm not good at the more in-depth stuff like that.
Oh.
But I'm using my knowledge of English to work out that it probably is working out the differences between two different things.
Yeah, I guess so. Ewan Chapman says, tell me a fact about the beliefs of Scientology followers, please. I dares you. And a face.
Tell me a fact about the beliefs of Scientologists.
Scientology followers.
They're all completely mental. It's a cult. Okay, maybe not all of it is a cult, but there's many signs to it which look very cultish. So yeah. But there are worse out there, so, if you're a Scientologist, as long as you're trying to be a good person and you're not trying to take over the world, yeah, you continue and have a happy life.
Leah Jones says, what part on a motorcycle does the rule left loose, right tight not apply?
Anything that's left-hand thread. One of the nuts on the crank flywheel side on possibly the adrenaline, I think that's a left-hand thread, because obviously if you're basically, something's turning in a direction that could lead to undoing itself, you want it to go the other way so it tightens itself up through inertia of the nut and the thing moving. So, if you're not going to stake it or somehow lock that nut, you go with the left-hand thread. Jason
Robbins says, tell me a fact about the rule of thirds.
I guess you're talking about photography. The rule of thirds is basically, it comes down to oh my god, who worked this out originally? Was it no, it wasn't Da Vinci. One of the very famous people worked out that the human brain really likes things if it's a rule, if it comes in 2/3. So if you're doing a picture and you want to show, you want it to be like 2/3 the sky or 2/3 the sea, or if you're going to have someone in a picture, it looks nicer if they're like 2/3 the way in rather than slap bang in the middle. It's just this thing that basically, or the shape of a board, or anything really, the human brain prefers if it's 2/3 to 1/3 ratio. You know what I mean? Like 2 to 1. So 3 to 1. That's the point. 2 to 3. I'm very tired.
Oh dear. Richard Groves says, tell me a fact about Boris Johnson.
Tell you a fact about Boris Johnson?
Yeah.
His dad and his brother and himself are all in politics. How do 3 members of one family end up in politics and yet none of mine are? Or anyone I know? Why is so many people who are related end up in power? The fact about that is, I don't really know, and I think that's a question that should be asked a lot.
Mark Lally says, tell me a fact about the LED. Or is that a trick question?
I don't think LED is in the light is abbreviated that way. LED in the sense of that is a light emitting diode, but I don't think they mean that.
Oh.
So I've got to work out what it is.
Trick.
I believe he's referring to the lowland eastern duck. It's very much like a mallard, very, very aggressive. They live on lakes and you won't know that it's the lowland variety until it is flying at your neck.
Oh no.
They have very large teeth. It's somewhat like a drop bear.
Cookie Guy 97 says, tell me a fact about Wales.
Wales is somewhere in the United Kingdom. In my experience, most of the Welsh people are a lot smaller than me. And from my personal experience of Welsh people, they're also quite angry. However, I have met some very nice Welsh people. I don't know a lot about Wales, I'm afraid. This is not worked in the way I was hoping. It's too broad.
Dizlock says, tell me a fact about tattoos and piercings. Something I won't know as it's my career. Winky face. Also, hi Reno and Spicy and well wishes to Mother Spice. Hello.
So you expect me to tell you something about your career path that you don't know that I do? Okay, one of the earliest tattoos that I know of was on that frozen mummy, and he had 4. If you imagine this is my ankle. I don't know if I'm in shock 'cause I can't see.
Yes, you are.
He had like 4 straight lines on his ankle, like there, and he had other ones, and they believe that it wasn't for a design in the sense of like, decoration like we use it now. They think it was being used medicinally. They believed it might help that as a problem area. I think that's what they were saying. Another fact, and is an opinion, in the past 20 years, the poignance of tattoos has been killed by the ability to remove them. In the same way that getting married and being able to get divorced, it's annoying and it's painful, but you can do it, is the same with tattoos. You can be tattooed anywhere and have it removed. And I think that has killed some of the appeal of tattooing in its original permanency. The whole point is it's permanent. It's like somebody go, I've got a tattoo, but it's a temporary one. Now every tattoo seems like a temporary one.
James the Naked Snake says, I don't know if I'm too late, but I'll give you a choice of 2. Either tell me a fact about variable valve timing, or tell me a fact about mass spectrometry. Jesus Christ.
One of the things that you will see happen in the next few years, and this is my belief, so this is not a fact, this is an opinion.
Is it a fact or an opinion?
Oh, no. You're going to see lots of bike manufacturers going variable valve timing, we've got it, it's going to make the bike so much more powerful, so much more blah, 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 blah. This is why it's better. Wrong. The reason they're doing it is because they're trying to hit emissions standards, and without it, they're not going to be able to do it, because the emissions rules are getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and variable valve timing is a very helpful thing to clean up the running of an engine. Equally, I think turbos is something we will see in the future. That is one of the reasons they use turbos in like bigger vehicles, is because it's a lot more fuel efficient to use a turbo. So it won't be a turbo in the sense of like it'll be a low pressure turbo, which will help increase the efficiency of the engine. But not the reliability, because low pressure turbos still fail and turbos are expensive to replace. Though 3D printing of metal, I think, will improve that, because you don't have to pay someone to machine the impeller, you can print them now. So that should bring the costs of low pressure turbos and turbos in general down.
The second one was, tell me a fact about mass spectrometry.
Reno is better at saying it the third time round. Okay, next.
That's it. That's all.
It's the end. I did it. I've actually filmed the video. I'm sorry. This video was probably rubbish, because my idea was people would ask me questions about things they knew I kind of knew about, and I thought, you know, it could be a jumping off point to talk about that subject. Unfortunately, I didn't think about the fact that people are going to ask me about the most nuanced, some of the most nuanced things.
Tell me a fact about this mouse.
This mouse belongs to the Mew. It is her favourite mouse. It was lost under the bed for several months. We've recently given it back to her, and she's very hyped to see the mouse again. And she keeps losing it under the bed constantly. But the one strange thing is, unlike anything else, she will pick this mouse up with her mouth and then carry it off, which she doesn't do with anything else, which is very strange.
And she also likes to get very hyped about it, and you throw it at her, and then she loses all interest in 1 second.
Literally, you throw it, she's like, get it! And then she gets it, and she's like, don't care. Right, next month I'm going to return to doing the Q&A, because this was a dumb idea. So patrons, keep an eye out for that post. I'm not going to make a video like I did last time, because I don't need to explain how to do a Q&A. You get how those work. Don't leave your questions in the comments of this one. Don't leave your questions on this in Patreon or on YouTube. Patrons, wait till you see the post that's just the text one that says give me questions for the October, will it be? Or is it September now? September,
We're in October.
The October Q&A. That's where the questions are asked, is on my Patreon. Only the patrons get to ask, because it's one of the benefits they get for supporting me for just $1 a month. Videos 3 days early, and the thing I just said, and you get to PM me. That's another thing. Someone PM'd me the other day and was like, I can't believe you responded. I'm like, it's the only place you can get a response from me on PMs. Okay, I've said it a million times. I don't use Instagram PMs. I have so many in my inbox. I occasionally will have a flick through and try and catch up, but it's just like the ever growing pile. Facebook, I've switched them off. My business email is for business. If you email me about something that's non-business related to my business email, you will not get a response, because it's my business email and it explicitly says for business use only. When I say that, I feel like an individual's going to go, oh, I'm so offended I did that. And I'm like, if you saw that 400 other people did it, you might be like, oh, yeah, fair enough. He's not hating me, it's just the general thing. Yes. And I've said a lot, don't PM me through those things, because you won't get a response. Or if you can try and I might respond, as long as you accept that you might not get a response from me, that's important. Anyway, I'm waffling on now, but it's something I meant to say in a video yesterday and then didn't make a video. To those people, huge thanks for Patreon supporters. Thank you to everyone else who supports me in all the ways you do. Please do keep in mind I currently have a 30% off sale on my stickers, keychains and stuff on my Etsy store. Not the ones from other companies, the ones on my Etsy store. And not the Spicy Army ones, because there's only about 7 of them left. So I'm not going to sell those cheap. I need to get the stickers I'm trying to clear stocks of. Anyway, right, okay, end it there. Bye!
Bye!
If you enjoyed this video and the other content on the channel, please consider following the links in the description to show your support.